Yeah, and I don't know why I'm happy in the morning. I know that too. I
that is a small way
But no, it's my fun job. Oh yeah, I went to the website recently. Because I'm setting up business cards, so I have that. Yeah, because I remember the eyes. That's what I'm hoping people remember is that. And now all of a sudden I rebranded, but in essence I really do because I'm still making you memorable. So by getting all eyes on so it's still representing marketing. I just
3-4 hours in our house, something like that.
My focus
Rob the trigger player.
everybody's sort of doing my so how does things go?
help me out. That should be loud enough. So, I finished that up.
Bob, hold on, just all right. Good morning. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. We're gonna start again. We are. Hold on, Bob. We often talk about y'all need to market and advertise, and I'm gonna just keep on showing stuff that's simple and cheap and stupid until you get it, people. That you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to do a lot of high value special effects advertising. What you need to do is figure out what your message is and who your market is and get a message out to them. So today's is like a mini mall. Hit that for me, Bob. Sure.
We talking about free market. Montgomery it's just like a mini mall. Oh yeah, come shop with us. I said free market. Montgomery it's just like a mini mall. Hey, you heard me. Come shop. Living room, bedrooms, diners. We got it. You need it. You found it. It's just like a mini mall. Hey, divided at the market. We talking about flea market. Montgomery, it's just like a mini mall. Hey, the stop. Let's make it a dance. Come on now. To the left, let's dance. Hey, to the left, to the right. Let's make this a dance. Flea market, Montgomery, it keeps you jumping. It's just like a mini mall.
That goes 2 minutes.
Yes. Over 14 million views.
Oh yeah.
Over 14 million views. People were traveling to Montgomery to visit this spot. Just to visit. It was parodied on the Cleveland show. Cleveland does a version of this.
He looks like Cleveland.
Yeah, he does. But think about it. This ain't expensive or complicated, folks. And all he has is a mini mall. A flea market. I don't know what you want to call it.
Montgomery where? What Montgomery?
Alabama.
Okay.
7 words. 7 words repeated and they're burned in my head.
And now you'll sing it all day.
Yeah, you're singing all day. I'm giving them time to switch computers. But you see what we're talking about? You don't have to have fun with it. What we do is we're so intent on selling that we don't realize people need to like us first to do business with us. So part of that is how you market yourself. If I don't like you, Walmart, I will not go in there.
Amen.
I just don't. I will buy from local if I can. So the message, but anyway, I'm sorry. There you go. Next week we will have something a little more closer to modern. But we're going to keep this up, and if you have any questions, feel free. Excuse me, pardon.
Okay, kids, good morning. Good morning. Hello, thank you. If you can, please scan the QR code. This is how we take our attendance. We want them to know that we are alive and thriving here in Columbia. And if this is your first time with us, thank you. Please also scan the QR code so you can become a friend of ours. And I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to do that, and then we're going to get started with the program.
That's going to stick in my head all day. We need to do a 1 million cups one. We're just like networking. We network together. Give me a week.
Have to find somebody to take that back and track.
One million cups version.
I will give a shame for anybody.
Follow me to the desert. And she'll bring the snacks. Okay, we need you to say something. We need those kids practice girls and now life. We're going to say that. We know.
Alrighty, 1 more minute, everybody. 1 more minute.
We network. We network. We network. So Tom, it's your turn. All you gotta say is, we network.
We network.
No, but once you cut, rewind. Ready, go.
We network.
Alright, here we go. On with the show. So, welcome everybody. This is 1 Million Cups, and the mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new, seasoned, and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. So we are a national organization, and every Wednesday, 1 Million Cups meets throughout the nation at 9 a.m. Our next closest chapter, I believe, is in the Charleston area. So if you are ever out there, please make a stop and check out their 1 Million Cups. We have a couple of key pillars. First of all, we give presentations, not pitches. We also make authentic connections. We're not just here to network. We are radically and intentionally inclusive, and we are run for the community, by the community. And what I mean by that is these are your local business owners that support and bring this to you weekly. So first of all, we are grateful for the USC Columbia Technology Incubator for housing us every week. And then below are all of the local businesses who you supply your coffee, do the marketing, just bring this to you weekly. It's not anything we get paid for. It's something that we're passionate about and really believe that this is important for our community. Frankly, all we get for it is a lousy t-shirt. And I have my lovely models in the back modeling those t-shirts. I'm telling you, it's hot stuff. So if you're interested in becoming one of us, and want one of those hot t-shirts, let me know. We've got plenty of jobs to go around. Our local program. So we have actually been here over 10 years. We are held weekly on Wednesday mornings. We have had over 500 entrepreneur presentations, and we also offer educational topics like finance, future frame, network, and we provide local resources. We have usually one presenter a week, but we're changing that. In September, we're going to 2 presenters a week. And they're going to have a 5 to 6 minute presentation, and we follow that with Q&A from the community. We also have some Made It sessions where we'll have entrepreneurs come back and talk about their journey with us. And again, we are always free, we are always open to the public, and we do caffeinate you with some free coffee. Bring a friend. I am calling for presenters. If you are interested in presenting your business to 1 Million Cups, let me remind you, first, it is not a sales pitch. It is not an investor pitch. The folks in here are not your customers and your clients. They might know some, but we are your colleagues. And what we want to do is the goal. We want people to understand what you do and some of the challenges that you've had in building your business. So this is where you come and share your entrepreneurial story. We like companies that are newer, 0 to 5 years old, and open to community engagement. Or if you've got a great idea and you want to run it by our community, please bring that as well. If you're rebranding, relaunching, anything, we want to hear from you. You can apply there at that link, or you can come and see me or any of our organizers directly. Thank you.
Organizers, raise your hand real quick so people can identify you.
We got a couple here, so there you go. Thank you, everybody. This is our local Facebook page. We have 2 Facebook pages. One is our 1 Million Cups Facebook page, which is kind of our national page for the Columbia area, and this is kind of our little family page. This is where we would like to encourage more engagement. So if you have questions, comments, resources, you're looking for a resource, please do that there. And if you haven't become a part of this, go ahead and give it a quick scan. We will add you to our family page. And we've got some upcoming presenters. So let's go over the next month. So next week, we're going to have the lovely Adina Maynard. She's coming in a year ago. She started a word game app. And she is coming back a year later to tell us about how that's going, what the process has been like, and where she's at. So that's going to be, if you were there last year, I can't wait to hear Miss Adina's update. Following her, we have Teresa Tidwell-Smith. She's coming to talk about her journey creating meaningful escapes. The 27th, Miss Jada Willis will be coming in. She's a former organizer. She was affiliated with 1 Million Cups as an organizer. She's coming back to talk about how 1 Million Cups shaped what she's doing and what she's doing now. And then on the 3rd, we have the lovely Deb Mullen, who's going to be coming in and talking about her, whole new...
My company, my rebrand.
A whole new
It's
rebrand.
about time. 8 years I've waited to present here.
There we go. So Deb's coming, and it's all eyes on you. So without further ado, may I please present to you our presenter today. So Miss Kasie Whitener, many moons ago, Dr. Kasie Whitener defected from corporate America to become an entrepreneur and college professor. She's also a known ringleader, a vampire fiction writer, a talk show radio host, and the self-proclaimed Queen of How. Since March 29, 2025, she is also a candidate for the U.S. Senate, and you can learn more about her there at that website. She's also Gen X, which I'm down with. So please help me welcome Ms. Kasie, and I'm going to give her presentation.
Suspects in this room today as I walked in and started seeing all these folks that I know and remember from the beginning of my journey at 1 Million Cups years and years ago. So what I wanted to do today is walk you through kind of what that looked like when I first showed up at 1 Million Cups back when we were over at Cromer's Peanuts, and Agatha Chudzinski and Greg Hilton were pulling people together. And some of you in the room remember that group. There was maybe 8 of us every other morning or so, every other week or so, and it was an interesting crowd. But I just want to kind of talk you through what that journey looked like, and maybe some of it will be inspirational to y'all. And then, eventually maybe we'll get to the end where you can all subscribe to my newsletter and promise to vote for me. So it starts with my husband and I moving from the upstate South Carolina in 2012 down here to Columbia. We had a 4-year-old daughter, and I was interviewing for jobs actively because we had moved down here for his job. I was in corporate. I'd been a corporate trainer. I've been a copywriter. I have a master's degree in English, so I was kind of working that. I was also currently enrolled in a PhD program at the time and really putting off finishing my dissertation. So we get here in 2012, and I decide I do not want to go back to corporate because corporate jobs suck. And so, and being in an office is terrible and miserable and all these kinds of things. And I think, I'm just going to start my own business. I'll just do my own thing. And the first question I got was, well, what are you going to sell? And I'm like, well, I'll sell myself. Like, whatever I'm good at, right? I'm good at writing, and I'm good at training, and I'm good at business processes, and all these other sorts of things. And also, I need to finish my PhD, so I'll do that while I'm building my business. I'm only doing just one thing. So building my business, finishing my PhD, and this is way back in 2012 timeframe. And the first thing I decided to do was name the business, and we had moved to Clemson Road over in the Upper East Side. Who here is from the Upper East Side? Upper East, that's right. Some people call it the Northeast, but we've rebranded it. We're the Upper East Side. The Lightwood area. So we had moved to Clemson Road. I started a blog called Life on Clemson Road because my husband and I are both Clemson graduates. He's 98, I'm 99. And so we...
She hears that a lot.
We'll get to the booing. And so I figured I'd name the business Clemson Road. And at the time, creative meant that you were doing something other people weren't doing. And so I named it Clemson Road Creative, thinking I would start out as a writing studio and share my writing gifts with the world. Immediately, people thought I was some kind of branding and marketing studio. They thought I was some kind of web design studio. All those things, not true. But anyway, moving on. So I do this in 2012, and in 2013, I got a really big opportunity to work with a consultancy called AAC Utilities. So I started kind of freelancing for them back and forth as a consultant. Meanwhile, sort of building my business on the side, still trying to figure out exactly what am I going to sell and who am I going to sell it to. And eventually, I got to this place that is 1 Million Cups, and somebody said, you should tell somebody that you have a business. And that's what I did here, right? Because I showed up and said, I have a business, I have business cards, I have a website, I have a tax ID, I have all the things that legitimize my business. I just don't have any customers. Like, just nobody's buying from me. Mostly because I don't know what I'm selling, right? Which is the beginning of that entrepreneurial journey. So if any of you have been in that space, you kind of know what that looks like. But I was really lucky because when I presented at 1 Million Cups, I got one person who was in the room that could make all my wildest dreams come true. It was a guy named Tom Petras who had a client that needed what I could do. And Tom walked up to me afterwards and he goes, I have a client that needs a methodology for their company. I think you could write this and you could document all their processes. It's like, that's great. This is going to be a wonderful, open up all the doors to what I can do kind of business, which is good, right? It was a huge opportunity. It was working for T-Cube, Sam McGukin, and if any of you guys know them, he's still a client of mine to this day, but he's on to his next company because as soon as I did this wonderful thing for him, he sold T-Cube. Yay, Sam. Great for Sam, not so great for Kasie. So about the same time as I'm not making as much money as I need to in my business, I'm doing this consulting gig and the consulting project ends, and I had a guy named Chris Joy who refused to give me another job because he didn't want me to leave my family every other week the way that I had been doing. And I was really mad at Chris Joy because I really loved that consulting money. And he was right. I stayed home, I stayed with my husband, I stayed with my daughter. We of course are awesome and better than ever because Chris Joy fired me from the consulting job. And I had to go back to Clemson Road and say, what can I do that can make a little bit of money? I went to the university, and here's why, and Bill's in the room. I was at a 1 Million Cups and listening to a financial panel, and Bill said something I've told people forever. You said, if you are waiting for your client to pay you so that you can pay your mortgage, you need a job. Like a J-O-B. I was like, oh crap, that's me. I need a job. So fortunately, PhDs belong at the university. So somebody else that I knew in the entrepreneurial space, a guy named Joel Stevenson, said, you have a PhD? Why aren't you teaching at Carolina? And I was like, you tell me. Why am I not teaching at Carolina? So I got a job over there, and this is what you might call the safe place to fall. I ended up at Carolina in a long-term commitment to them, unexpectedly, because of course I am a tiger, and every first day of every semester I have to let my students boo me. So Gamecocks in the room, go ahead, let me have it.
Yay!
That's just fine. I have no problem with that. Like I said, first day of every semester I let my students get away with that. And it's been fine. It's been me slowly, quietly building Clemson Road on the side as a very intentional supplement to what I do at the University of South Carolina. And the PhD and the role at the university gave me credibility that I hadn't had before in this entrepreneurial space. And I became somebody that people invited to speak to other business owners and talk to them about building their businesses. So I'm grateful I'm there. I've been really grateful that I've been there for a long time. And it'll stick around. I mean, that's the job, right? That's the job you do until they tell you can't anymore. All right, let's see. Point that at that you said. All right, so this is what the journey looks like, because like I said, I'm never not doing multiple things at the same time. So I start here as an educator at the university. I'm working for a W-2 paycheck, right? And benefits and all that, which is great. It's perfect stability for me and my family. That's wonderful. In the meantime, I've got this radio show called Right on SC where we talk about being authors and being writers. I mentioned I have a master's degree in English. Being a novelist is the only thing I've ever really wanted to be. Until now, right? Okay, so, but for the longest time, that's what I wanted. And I was lucky enough to find Alexa Bigworth, who's also in the room. She is a digital publisher here in South Carolina. And I said to her, I have this radio show, but I don't have a book. And she goes, well, I have a publishing company. Perhaps I can help with that. So I became a published author in 2019 with the first of my 2 novels after December, shortly thereafter before Pittsburgh came out. I know Tom Ledbetter has a copy of those. A bunch of you guys have copies, signed copies. I won't ask you if you read them. It's fine. Just buy them. Just buy them. But they're Gen X novels, so they fit right in with that Gen X branding. You saw that Unapologetically X, Gen X branding. That's really my author career. I've been building that for a long time as Unapologetically X. At the university, they trusted me with the Faber Entrepreneurship Center, so I've been the director there for the last 2 years. This year, I'm moving back into an assistant director role and letting Jeffrey Graybeal step forward. As you can see, I've got some other things coming up that are going to take me away from the university. And then on my radio piece, for a long time, it was just the Saturday show. And then in 2023, my husband had gone back to nursing school and our family lost his income. And our friend Kevin Cohen, who runs 100.7 The Point, lost his morning show co-host. And he said to me, hey, Case, I can't pay a lot, but maybe you'd like to come and do the morning show with me. And I said, well, I need to make Charlie's car payment. So as long as you can pay me enough to pay Charlie's car payment, let's do it. So I've been doing the morning show now for 1.5 years. It's been a lot of fun. Every morning from 7 to 9, except Thursdays. That's been great. It's been a really great exposure to a lot of different folks. It also gives me a chance to talk politics in the afternoon. And I think I'm getting better at being a broadcaster, which is really cool. So building that too, and part of that was this Governor's Awards in the Humanities. If you go and find me in the Governor's Awards on YouTube, you'll see that moment when I cried on YouTube. Just go, you'll find it. It's out there. I cried on the internet this one time. It's probably gonna be more, but that's that one time. And in the meantime, my 1 Million Cups term came to an end because I started teaching every Wednesday morning. So now I'm just sending my students here and then coming over the summer to try to reconnect with the community. But I'm always promoting 1 Million Cups. I think this is the most effective launch pad for anybody's career I've ever seen in my life. Because the people that I know that come through 1 Million Cups, they go on to achieve amazing things, and all of us have that one MC in common. This one MC in common. Not all of them, but this one specifically. So I'm glad to be here and glad to be with you guys. I also took over the leadership of the South Carolina Libertarian Party. They made me the state party chair. I've been the president of the South Carolina Writers Association off and on for a couple of years, and now candidate for U.S. Senate. Stepping forward. for one very specific thing, and that is to let people know you don't have to vote for the machine. You don't have to vote team red, team blue. You don't have to buy into their lies. You don't have to support their hijacking of our government. You can, in fact, vote for an independent, somebody who will not do what the machine tells them to do, but will instead do what's best for South Carolina. Whoop, whoop! That's the pitch there. And that gets me to this very last one, which is, as always, the advice for entrepreneurs. What would I tell you guys if I could give you some advice? Is that my 6 minutes?
No, that's
I couldn't remember. I'll just be clear. I didn't know if I had 6 minutes or if I had like the whole time. So I put this to like I think 8 or 9.
You're perfect.
You're
You're
fine.
perfect. Great.
Sorry.
You're good. All right. So here's what I would say. If you're an entrepreneur and you're wondering like, what should I do? What's the best thing? These are my like 6 nuggets. The first is say yes to everything. Right? When people ask you to do something, say yes. Want to get some coffee? Yes. Want to meet up for lunch? Yes. Want to come be part of a mastermind group? Yes. Would you like to present at this thing? Yes. Say yes all the time. The more time you put yourself out there and in those spaces, the more connections you're going to be able to make, and that will build your business. Even if it doesn't feel like the space is directly connected to your business, just being in that space, telling somebody who you are and what you do will build your business. I was really grateful to the City of Columbia's Office of Business Opportunities for bringing me into a lot of different spaces and offering me the opportunity to talk about what I was doing. And every time it was something different. I'm writing. I'm consulting, I'm training, right? As I was trying to figure out what does Clemson Road actually do, but they kept bringing me back and giving me the chance to talk to people about what I do. So say yes, put yourself out there. The other thing, and Kevin invited me last week to speak to his group at Midlands Tech, so thank you for that, Kevin. And I told them, learn what other people won't. There are skills out there that other people don't have, but you can get them. Get those skills, because if you know how to do something that other people don't know how to do, suddenly you're in demand. I'm not saying change your business to that being the thing, but if you say go to volunteer at an organization and they're like, we really need a website, and you're like, turns out I've got a blog, I know how to build a WordPress website, let's do it. Now you are valuable to that organization because you know how to do something that other people don't know how to do. So I would encourage you to look for those. And I'm not in any way saying everybody should learn AI. Let's be clear, okay? Suggesting that there are a lot of skills out there that other people don't have, and if you sharpen yours, you'll fit right in. I think you need to know how your business works. How does the industry work? How do businesses like yours operate? How do they bill? How do they earn business? What do their marketing funnels look like? You really got to know your industry. I had no idea how a consultancy operated until I built mine. And then I went and worked for a consultancy, and I saw they have methodology. We should get a methodology. They have proposals, and then they have statements of work. We should get statements of work, right? Once you understand how the business operates, now you can build the business. But if you're out there being a freelancer, and everybody loves freelancers, there's no model for freelancing, right? So you need to look around. What are other people doing? How are they building their business? And really know how that industry works. I'm going to say be willing to lead, because in that YouTube clip where I'm crying, I told the humanities that the reason I knew how to lead is because my grandparents put themselves in service. They went into organizations and they served their community. My grandfather was an Omar Imp. My grandmother worked with Lighthouse Ministries. They went and served others, and that was their type of leadership. Be willing to do that. Not everybody is built for being a leader. Not everybody is built for being a follower. But if you walk in the room and nobody else is stepping up, you should step up. Be the thing that other people aren't willing to be. Build the business you want to work for. Culture starts with you. I never, ever want to be an 8 to 5 person. I don't bill hourly. I never even price hourly. My perspective on that is my time is my time. You're not buying my time. You're buying my output. And my time is of no importance to you. You simply get the output. So I'm really clear about that right up front. I also don't work from an office. I work from home. I work from the coffee shop. I work from the airport. At the radio station, wherever I am, that's where I work from. That's the culture of my business. If you want the business that works that way, you have to build the business that works that way. The way businesses get to be overly bureaucratic and rules-based and formalized and all that is because that's what their founders wanted. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the business you want to build. But you're now, right now, fresh. You can build whatever you want the business to be. So do that and focus on that. And if something doesn't feel great or doesn't feel like it's the right fit, don't do it. I tell everybody I don't do anything unless it's fun. People offer me stuff all the time, and I'm like, that sounds terrible. I'm not going to do that. Thank you, but no, right? The things that sound fun, I want to jump right in. That is a business motto for me. That sounds fun. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And the last one is share your journey. Be willing to tell others, this is what happened to me. This is what I experienced. There were some faceplant moments. After we got that big contract from TQ, we had money, I hired my friends, we did all the work, I was super excited, we were moving forward, man, we were really gonna build this thing. And then there was nothing on the other side. And I had to fire my friends and try to understand what does it mean when the contracts aren't just coming. Some of you are building your businesses based on your existing network, and eventually that's gonna dry up. So how do you get to round 2, round 3, round 4? How do you build your business beyond those people that you know? That's gonna matter for you. It's really mattering for me right now in the campaign. You all are part of that first circle, right? But eventually I've gotta get 5 circles out because I need 1 million South Carolinians to make the choice for me instead of somebody else. And you can't do that unless you're willing to go out there and talk to them and share your journey. This is where I've been, this is what I've done, this is when I mucked it all up. But also this is where I've had some big success and I want to help you get there too. And that's it. This is my... The call to action slide is just here at this first level of campaigning. I'm inviting my friends to have small parties and invite me over to hang out with their friends and just have little conversations. This is what you might call customer discovery. If you go to my website, which by the way I broke this morning, I'll go ahead and tell you that story, ready? I hired a web designer, a guy named Amit Day, who I actually met through Alexa, and he did a great job with my website, and then today he gave me the keys, and I went there and I promptly broke it. So it doesn't look as good as it should or as good as it will here hopefully in the next few hours when Amit fixes it. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought there.
Parties of friends coming over.
Parties and friends, yes. So what I would like to do is some customer discovery. There's no place on my website that says platform that delivers, these are my hard stances on things. Instead, I'm having conversations with people all over the state and learning what matters to them and what's important to them. As a libertarian, there are some basic ideas that you go, okay, that's what libertarians believe, so that's fine. But really, I'm really in this customer discovery mode right now where I'm spending a lot of time talking to South Carolinians and what matters. Let's get beyond those talking points and beyond those prepared team red, team blue conversations, and let's talk about what we really want out of our state. So that's it. Tom.
In the conversations you're having around the state, any surprises as far as what from the political side of it, being an independent party and everything else? Have you run into something and go, oh my God, I didn't realize that that was here or that was going on or that was an issue? Any surprises that you've run into?
Yeah, so there's 2, I'll give you 2. The first is, this is what matters to me, the reason I'm running is the national debt. I am really concerned that our national debt is an existential threat and that our government will collapse under the amount of money that we owe and the fact that we continue to spend without considering that we've got to find a way to pay down what we owe. So that's really important to me, and I've been surprised by how many other people are really upset about that too. This is what we're seeing right now, the largest intergenerational theft, for lack of a better word, that we've ever seen. Meaning that our elderly folks are getting a lot of benefits out of Social Security, out of Medicare, and our young folks are paying for it. And they're gonna continue to pay for it. And it's not fair, and it's not right. And so I've been surprised at how many people feel the same way, that they think that needs to change. But then the other thing I've also been surprised about, this past weekend I was at a 50-51 rally, and I had a young person say to me, President Trump doesn't think I should exist. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? and this person is trans. And then another person who's also trans said to me, on the very first executive order, he wrote me out of existence. And I was really stunned by that because I was like, your government doesn't give you permission to exist as who you are. So there is a tremendous amount of language and propaganda that is telling people that their government has that level of power. And I think that's really scary. So that's the other surprise, is what people are hearing. In my blue rooms, what they say to me versus the red rooms, what they say to me, they are on two completely different sides of the internet. Because they have very different perspectives. And they want it that way. And by they, I mean the political parties want it that way. If we're divided, we're not blaming them.
Yep.
Right? We're blaming each other, but we're not blaming them. And so they want it that way, and they'll keep us divided. So that's been the biggest surprise for me. And we don't want that. South Carolinians don't want that. We want to be together. We want to love each other. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kasie, not Dr. Whitener, not that I'm trying to get political, please, okay? Now you're saying attack, basically the deficit and stuff like that. Is Trump doing the right thing then, or is he a little heavy-handed?
Not to get political.
I'm gonna not on that. Here's what I will say. As a senator from South Carolina, I could say no to everything because I won't have to do what the parties tell me to do.
Yep.
So anything that comes up that looks ridiculous, I could be like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And I think we need some of that. We need somebody up in Washington that goes, that's ridiculous. We're not doing that. And stop the theater and do actual governing. Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to thank you. I've met you from the time that we were over at the Peanut Shop. Way back then. One of the things that I appreciate is, as an upcoming entrepreneur transitioning from the military, transitioning from corporate, is the fact that I can look at you and I can say, oh my gosh, it's not I have to make $1 million this month or I don't make it. It's, hey, I can have the stability that my family needs and I can travel and have the schedule that I want to have, what I call that freedom. So I just really want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
But then, Kasie, you said you do things that sound fun to you and you don't do things that don't sound fun. Running for Senate in a Trump presidency doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me.
It's getting easier by the day.
Talking to South Carolinians is fun for me. All of the events I get to go to and learn more from them is fun for me. And I'm blogging on my website on KasieSouthCarolina.com, and writing about this experience has been fun for me. So that's it. That's the fun part, right? Is getting to be out there and be with all of you. It's gonna get hard. Like next year is gonna be hard. When the primaries, right now, the two major parties are headed toward primaries. They're going to beat each other up in the primaries. I hope they spend every dime they have in the primaries. And then it won't be till June of next year that we know who is representing those two parties. But then it's going to get for real. Like then the gloves are going to come off and it's going to get ugly. And my family knows that. That's been something we've been talking about. Like what are we available for? And so I think we're going to need a lot of fortitude by the time that comes around. So ask me again in a year how much fun I'm having running for Senate.
Let's yell for some margaritas instead.
That's right. Yes, sir.
You spoke of not charging by the hour and knowing your value.
Yeah.
How did you get there?
Well, that's a good question.
And better yet, how did you get there, how do you get people to accept that, especially in this market?
Well, that's an easier question.
Okay.
Yeah. How did I get there in terms of what is my value? When I first started pricing, it was what do I need to make on this to make it worth it for me? When I was working for AAC, they asked me to come on as a contractor to do some other work for them. And I sat across the table from a guy named Edwin, I can't remember his last name, but I sat across the table from Edwin. Edwin goes, are you going to make any money at this price? And I go, I don't know. And he goes, you need to know, Kasie, if you're going to make any money at this price before you give it to me. And he's like, I mean, this is a steal. What I'm about to pay you is way lower than I expected to pay. And I was like, yikes, okay. So then I started going through and figuring out, because I knew I said I don't do hourly. What is my hourly rate? Like, what's the market value for what I do on the, and I've used the federal government guidelines for that. If this was a government contract, they would pay me $35 for a prep hour and $160 in the classroom. Okay, that's like a baseline. It's got to be at least that, right? I didn't tell my customers that, but that's where I started trying to figure out how much it was going to be, is how much would the federal government pay me if I was doing that, right? It's not the best place to start, but it gave me something. And then I would go and I would pitch and say, this is the amount, it's a flat rate, you'll pay me at the beginning, a deposit, and then you'll pay me at the end the other half, right, 50-50. And a lot of them, sometimes it would be, we can't make the full payment, but we can do the 50-50 split, that's okay. And then, so this goes to your second question, which is how did you get people to buy it? If they wouldn't buy it, I didn't work for them.
Yep.
You gotta walk away. You gotta turn down business. And that's okay, because, and again, just like the election, I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm not for everybody. And it doesn't hurt my feelings if that's the case, right? It means I just have to go out and find somebody to replace that revenue. I got to go find somebody to replace that vote, right? But I understand completely that I'm not for everybody. Yes, ma'am.
I like the fact you're saying sometimes you have to have a job to be able to do it. Some of us go in.
I didn't say that. Bill said that. But you're right. A jobby job. A job.
Sometimes as entrepreneurs we have to have a job to support what you got going on. You know, we struggle as entrepreneurs to run this business, and some people just cannot afford the pricing, or we have to have, you know, that supplemental income.
Right. Economic security, right? Economic security is knowing that you can do whatever you want because your bills are paid.
Right.
And if your bills aren't getting paid because your business is struggling for whatever reason, you haven't found the right customer, it's okay to go get a job. Even if that job is as a bartender, so you have more flexibility. Go find work to hit that economic security, and then you can build whatever you want. Nights, weekends. Gary Vaynerchuk built his business on nights and weekends, right? You're gonna have to work that hard at it. And I know Derek and I are not on the same page with this because I've talked about this before with my students, and he's like, no, you gotta jump, because otherwise you have no safety net. That will force you to hustle. And I agree with that, unless you, like in my case, had a mortgage and a husband and a daughter who were depending on me to make that work. I mean, I love the idea of just jump. If it were just me, I'd be jumping all day long, but I've got responsibilities. And I think that's a reality for a lot of people.
Thank you for saying that, because I heard a report came out this weekend that a lot of people the side hustle is over. A lot of people want to get jobs.
Yeah, I think from COVID, people started there, so they really leaned into their side hustles, and some of them were solutions without a problem. So some of them were, and I work with creative entrepreneurs who are making jewelry, and they're making art, and they're making music, and that's wonderful, but you still have to create value. If you're not creating value, people aren't going to buy it, and it doesn't mean you're a bad musician.
That's right.
It might mean you're a bad musician. But it mostly means you just haven't found your people yet, you just haven't really taken off yet, and that's fine. Go back to the bar, keep bartending, and then play every open mic you can get in front of, right? But hustle, right? And I think some people, say it again?
That's the joke. See, I got to defend what I said to those kids. Because first of all, they had was student loans. They weren't married and had all of that. And I'm like, you need to fail now. Because failing when you're 30 or 40 and you got 2 children and a mortgage and all of that, failure hits a little different when you got stuff. But the jump is, even if you go do that job, you're hitting those. I'm gonna use comedians because I heard a comedian say this. He was taking any comedian job that showed up, because he just wanted to be out there and do it. Now, if you don't, then you don't jump. You know, it's like, okay, I'll do a gig every other month. No, you got to consistently be at this,
right?
And that's when your side hustle becomes a passion. We had those different camps on passion and all that, and I let it go. But we too often don't think you can jump from a job. You know, I know folks who've been building their restaurants while working for Pizza Hut.
Sure.
But what they were doing was they jumped. They were like, I can't stay here no more. You know.
But you also see 2 successful women, Kasie and Kasie, they still have a job, and they're running an awesome business also.
Thank you, Chief. Lester's been, we got Lester, this gentleman, you were waiting before, and then Deb. So Lester, go ahead.
He was before me?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple comments. My name's James. I just came in from New York, serial entrepreneur. A couple observations. From my vantage point, it's very challenging to kind of weave in politics into business. I've just known that building national companies, that it's just it's challenging. So I kind of stay out of that lane just for your own peace of mind. I just don't tread into that water. I'm actually here in Columbia today to launch our app. Gonna be on TV this afternoon on NBC, talking about my new app called JobSnap. But it's about side hustles, about gigs, connecting people that need jobs and tasks done with those people who have the skills, time, motivation, and everything like that. So it's a really unique mobile app platform that allows people to use their side hustle skills to pull in that money while they're building their own companies, or they could be in a full-time job or whatever. So those are just my 2 comments from this morning, and I just want to thank you for your time and presentation.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi.
That was an excellent presentation.
Oh,
Can you talk about your process on how you started to develop the value that you were going to give to your customers?
Sure. So initially it was, we need a methodology, right? This is what I noticed at AAC is they had this methodology. So I started thinking about, our methodology is ROAD, R-O-A-D, right? That's for Clemson Road Creative. And it was, we need this sort of discovery period. We need to create an actual proposal or a plan that tells them this is where we're going. And then we need this do the work piece, right? Where we're showing them what we've done and we're getting their feedback on it. We're making revisions. And then the last piece is ultimate delivery, which is now you've got the keys to the car and we're out, right? And so for that like step-by-step walk it through, that's not magic. That's every consulting project ever. But we just used our own terminology to give it a 4-step process, the ROAD methodology. Yeah, and I mean, and again, like the more I did it with other people, the more I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This works perfectly. And every industry might be a little bit different, but I think for the most part, those are your big general concepts, right? We learn what we need, we make a plan, we execute the plan, we deliver and say goodbye.
So you teach that methodology, or that's what you charge for? Now, that's the value that you.
Yeah, so the business itself is to deliver methodology for other people.
Okay.
So when a software company so after Sam McGuckin hired me for T-Cube, then he went and built Yovant. And he brought me in with Yovant at the beginning and said, hey, Yovant needs a methodology. Kasie, sit down with my people and talk us through how this looks, right? And so we go through and we brand it. Here's all your steps. They do software implementations, so it's a little bit different because they're mapping business processes and then they're figuring out how does the software connect with their existing and how does it rewire their business processes. So we go through all their steps, then I come up with some creative language around it, tell the story about it. I hire a graphic designer to make it look really pretty, and then they have their branded methodology. So when they're out on the market selling what they do, they go, well, we have the Yovantage, which is our Yovant methodology, Yovantage, right? It's very funny. So that's what I do is help them build that methodology.
Okay.
But then I had, for a short period of time through Clemson Road Creative, spent some time with other consultants wanting to help those consultants. So I was like, I'll teach them how to do this. And that didn't really pan out. So that was one thing that I tried for Clemson Road. I'll train consultants how to be consultants. But consultants don't have any money. Until they really start working, right? And so they're like, I don't need to learn this, I just need to do this. And I'm like, okay, do. That sounds great. So
All right, we had Deb and then the gentleman next to Deb. So Deb, go ahead.
Hi, Deb.
Hello, Facebook. Question. You organized for 2 years, which was a monumental 2 years because this room was packed with as many as 100 every week.
We had a big crowd, that's
Not once in 2 years did a presentation go over 6 minutes. What did you do for 2 years that kept that meeting on track the way you kept it on track?
Oh, that's a good question. So somebody asked me this at the Republican Forum a couple weeks ago that was like, hey, what skills do you have that would make you a good senator? And I was like, I can hold a meeting. I was like, I can hold a meeting. I can keep people on task, I can keep people on topic, and I can cut them off when it's time for them to stop talking, right? I can make it very clear we're ready to go. So I always gave them their 30-second warning from the back of the room so that everybody else didn't see it. I always made sure they saw me giving them their warning. And then when they were done, whenever they would start to take a breath, right? I knew they were finished, and they would pause for a breath, and I just start clapping. And then everybody else started clapping, and that would cut them off. And they go, oh, I'm done. And I'm like, yes, you are. Questions from the crowd. So yeah. But I mean, genuinely wanting the best for the organization.
Absolutely.
I think that's what comes through. I'm not trying to be a tyrant or trying to be, it's not my space up here. I don't own it. It was more of, I learned that from Dirk actually. I don't need to own all the things. I want to be part of it and I want to help you guys with it. But I don't feel no sense of proprietary ownership. I feel no sense of, what would you call that? Like, what's the word we used to use all the time around here? People had there was a territorial.
Right.
I feel no sense of territorialness at all. To me, it's about sharing the space and helping each other out. And so I think that came across too. I wasn't trying to be mean to those presenters. I wanted to keep our meeting on track for the good of the organization.
Well done.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. Great presentation.
Thank you.
I just had a quick question. You mentioned about, you with your business building that proof of concept. Initially, you finding out what you do best, and then finding out how it's going to be viable and to make money from it. I want to know how much of that, or what aspect of that, was acumen based. Like, what did you have to know already to know about what to build in your proof of concept?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it's probably, this is not the best answer, but I'll go like 50-50. So 50% of it was knowing how does business work. And I had the advantage of a PhD in business to have taught me what that looks like, and also having worked for other companies and seeing how they work. So I mentioned AAC, and I was a consultant for them, right? Watching and seeing how they work. So that's about 50% is just kind of knowing how business works. And then the other 50 was what am I good at and what do I want to do and how quickly can I do these things. So I mentioned I wanted to start out as a writer. I just wanted to write for people. People don't want to pay writers, especially not now. My God, with AI, right? Like nobody wants to pay a writer what they're worth. And so I had to quickly figure out like where is there opportunity for a writer to make a living, right? And so that was me spending time thinking like, what is the right kind of writing? R, right? Kind of. W writing, right? To go, what's the right space for that? And that ended up being taking my software implementation experience and writing for people how we're going to do things. This is how we're going to do things. And I would say that's the 50% is not acumen, it's intuition. I stumbled upon this Queen of How concept, which is what my LinkedIn profile used to say was Queen of How, because I really want to know, how are you going to do this? People will say, I'm going to transform this industry with this particular app. How? Yeah. Do you have a developer? Do you have a marketing plan? Do you know who your customers are? Like, and then start asking all those questions. I want to know how. And I think that's kind of how I end up over there. Does that answer your question? I don't know if that's useful in any way.
No, it's absolutely useful.
Okay.
My name is Christopher. This is my first meeting.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome. Newbies.
All right. Hey. I really admire your courage, Kasie, to decide to raise your hand. That's really big.
Thank you.
I guess from the political side, we have really low turnout from 18 to 25-year-olds. However, they make up millions of the electorate that should be voting that is not engaged. I guess what plans do you have to get them engaged?
TikTok.
There you go.
Yeah, truthfully, meet them where they are. I mean, that's it. It's meet them where they are. So I'm using my blogs, right? Which I was told, don't write blogs. Nobody reads. That's not true, by the way. Substack is proof that people do in fact read and that people are hungry for long form content. There is a surge happening in the Substack. So I've been writing the blogs, which are my experiences. And then the plan is to create that marketing funnel where you build those small reels, either on Instagram Reels or through TikTok. And you have these short videos that just hit nice and quick. This is the point, this is the point, this is the point. And you say it over and over and over again. And the biggest one right now is that intergenerational theft that's happening. I mean, that's not my phrase, that's Charlie Kirk's phrase. To talk about how our older voters are taking money from our younger voters. And it's because our younger voters aren't showing up. And they need to get in the game, right? Get in the game. Otherwise, it's going to pass you by.
Yes.
We have time for two more. Yes, Kevin.
How are you?
I'm
great job. You've gotten better at Canvas since our presentation.
Thank you.
Good job. I actually had two quick questions.
Sure.
One, you keep up with a lot of stuff. And I'm curious how you're able to silo each of those things so when you hit the ground running. Because for me, those transitions are extremely difficult because I do multiple things. And I lose an hour every time I have a transition, or it feels like that anyway. How do you do it?
I love that you asked that question because I say this to Charlie at the end of the day. He'll go, how was your day today? Charlie's my husband. And I'll go, I shifted gears a lot today, moving from one thing to the next, especially when those Zoom meetings will get scheduled back to back to back. And I'll tell you the secret. A few years ago, I made a promise to myself that I was not going to multitask while I was in the moment. Right? So while I'm in a Zoom meeting, I am in a Zoom meeting. There is no email, there's no phone, there's nothing. I am focused 100% on what's happening in this meeting right this moment, right? I'm not thinking about anything else. And I take copious notes. And when it's time to be into the next thing, I push that aside and do the next thing. And I just go full in to that thing for the time I'm in it. And I might still have like lingering thoughts. Like when I see you, I might be like, you know, this morning at 1 Million Cups, we were talking about something like that. I'll have to put that together, but you know, for now, that's not relevant. For now, we're gonna do what we're doing right now. So it's full immersion in the moment at the thing I'm doing right then, and that's the only way I can do it.
It's basically mindfulness. I'm in the present.
All the time.
So the other thing, you talked about basically copying. I'm paraphrasing. So if I have a retail store, I can go look at another retail store and see how they set it up, and I can copy that. But if I'm a consultant, it's not like all these consulting firms are like, hey, here's how we do it, right? They don't do it that way.
No.
So you had the experience of having worked for a consulting firm and thinking back, oh, there was a methodology to this. If we haven't done that, how do you find those things?
Good question. Well, this goes back to the jobby job, right? Because the reason I know what I know about AAC is because I took a jobby job to work with AAC. So that goes back to that. And I would say you can either meet with the business owners of those organizations, and they may in fact talk you through the process, or you can find books on this. There are a lot of books that are written about business models that will say, this is how I built my business. The other thing I would encourage you to do is look at business models that are outside of what you do. So we looked at like for Clemson Road Creative, thinking about having multiple consultants, we looked at like the beauty shop model, right? Which is every consultant could come and be part of our consultancy. They would run their own businesses independently, but we would do all the marketing and we would do all the sort of overhead stuff for them. And we looked at that as a business model. Consultants don't typically have that kind of business model, so that looked kind of attractive to us for a while as well. So I would say look at all types of business models, not just the one that's in your industry. But the best way to do it is to be an insider, is to get a job in that company. And even if you're just working on a short-term project, ask all the questions while you're there on the project. How does this work exactly? Right. So Edwin was really forthcoming with me with AAC utility partners. He spent a lot of time talking to me about business models and what a consultancy should do. And I will say too, when we first moved here, I interviewed in Charlotte with a guy that ran a consultancy doing basically what I do. And while we were interviewing, he's like, Kasie, I love you, but I don't understand why you would come work for me. Why wouldn't you do this yourself in Columbia? I'm not in Columbia. I'm in the Charlotte market. You should go down to Columbia and do this yourself. And I was like, thanks. I'll get a logo, right? Like that's all I knew how to do. I was like, I'll get a logo. So, okay. Well, thank you everybody so much. Final question.
What can 1 Million Cups Columbia do for you?
1 Million Cups Columbia has already done so much for me that I hesitate even to ask. But I will ask. I'll ask if you are willing to host a house party. By all means, please let me know. I would love to come and meet your friends and your family and talk to them about the campaign. If you're willing to just follow me, go to the website, get on the email address. That's it. That's the new thing. It's not that business and politics are together. It's that politics is the new adventure. So thanks everybody. I appreciate your time.
Anthony, please stand. We are losing Anthony for a while as an organizer, and I thought it would be great if we recognized him. He's back there keeping me quiet and everything, but the other thing was what was your program? Dollar and a Dream, which we're going to bring back. So Anthony's been a big part of this for a very long time, but he's going to teach the children. So we wish him well, but I thought the room should recognize him.
Oh, 100%. Now,
everybody go home.
You don't have to go home.
Better. My name is Rod.
Closing job We talked to obviously photographers about AI and like digital stuff, programming websites. We talked about all kinds of great things. We never about it. And I think right now is the time to talk about AI searches to go to the research. It's starting to happen.
What was it, 2010 or 2011 when you came down? 11, 15 years. I remember Cromer's Peanuts.